The first place I lived in Manhattan was on the very upper west side, near where one of the sculptures is. I was walking up and down on Broadway on about 117th Street. That's where I started out in this city for the first 2 weeks. So I've had a strong relationship with Broadway, and of course it was very inspirational for Mondrian, and it in fact broke Mondrian's purity, and it infused his work with rhythm. Broadway boogie woogie doesn't have that closure, and neither does my work. My work's always about, in a way, a portrait of the city. I have land out on my studio, and I have my sculptures standing around anyway, so we simply transported them, and we tried to choose them according to the location. For example, there's one made with railway sleepers, and that we put next to the train line. And then there's the other one, which is blue, which we put near Columbia University. I make frames and stack them up, which reminds me of work I used to do when I was younger, when I worked in factories. We used to stack things, so it comes very natural to me to stack up. Also, I think it goes super well with the city and the skyline of the city, you know, the way the city is made by layers. So what I've tried to do here was take the exotic colors that you have from the cars. This is the largest work that I've made. I've made several of these, and each time I make one, they get a little bigger. So it's called 48 because there's 48 of these. I use numbers in my work quite a lot. The colors are chosen emotionally. The ones that I put up on the mall are Corten steel. Corten steel, it was developed to use for railway lines, so that the railway lines didn't suffer undue corrosion. And I like the way it responds to the weather, because when it's wet, it changes color. It goes almost black. So they're kind of, in a way, they're kind of passive, waiting for the weather to light them up. And they all have that in common, except the two that are painted. And the blue one is painted with a lot of different blue colors, as I said before, corresponding to Columbia, but also the sky. And it's shown in a place that's quite open with a lot of sky. And as Matisse said, you know, New York has the bluest skies that he's ever seen. And then there's another one that's made with old wood. First of all, they were trees. Trees got cut down. So I've used these pieces of wood, cut them very simple, so that you see the joint. The joints are important. And the joints are quite primitive, almost like Paleolithic art. And so there's a sense of old and a sense of new in my work. I'm somebody who adores Giacometti. Giacometti's sculptures, which I think are incredible, are what's left after the world has had its way with you, which it will with all of us. It wears us down, it makes us fall apart, and then it gets rid of us. So, and we still smile, you know. Meanwhile, we still smile and laugh. And Giacometti makes these sentinels, ragged sentinels with big feet to hold them up. And they are a monument to what's left, or a monument to Stoicism. So I got the edge idea from this from this sculpture of Giacometti, and I applied it to this so that instead of it being contained as a column, it breaks it up and you can see that it's made of bits, and the bits are dialoguing with the air around the city. You know, it makes it more fragile or more approachable, I think, instead of trying to make something perfect.